Greetings, travelers, and welcome back to Tales from the Enchanted Forest. I am your host and animal companion, Sparrow. Fox is on a journey of adventure and self-discovery, so she won't be popping by today, but we look forward to hearing from her next time when she brings us another fantastic tale. But do not worry, I have a fun short tale for us today, coming all the way from Brazil. This story comes from the 1917 book Fairy Tales from Brazil by Elise Spicer Ells. We have covered stories from this book before. Specifically, we have covered the story of how the rabbit lost its tail and how the tiger got its stripes. As you may have noticed, many of these stories are animal tales and explanation stories, both of which are some of our favorite types of stories to cover on the podcast. So, of course, I wanted to dive back into this book and find more stories like this. So while we have covered rabbits and tigers in previous episodes, today we're going to be focusing on the monkey. Now, the monkey is traditionally a trickster archetype, and we see some of that occur in a variety of tales in this book. However, sometimes the trickster can also be tricked. So, with all of that said, sit back and relax, dear travelers, as I tell you the tale of why the bananas belong to the monkey. Once upon a time, there were many different types of monkeys. But there was only one kind of banana. Luckily, there was a very old lady who had a garden full of bananas. However, with her old age, it was very challenging for the old woman to gather the bananas herself. So, one day she made a deal with the biggest monkey. She told him that if he gathered the bunches of bananas from her garden, she would give him half of all the bananas collected. The monkey happily agreed. However, when the monkey went to divide all the bananas he collected, he gave the old woman all of the small and wrinkled bananas, while he himself took all of the big, fat, golden bananas for himself. Well, the old woman did not like this one bit. That night, the old woman lay awake in her bed, fuming over how the monkey had wronged her, and she contemplated how she could best get her revenge. After much tossing and turning, she finally hatched her plan. The following morning, she took a bunch of wax and shaped it into the figure of a human boy. Then she placed a basket upon the figure's head and put the best bananas she could find to stick out the top of it. Taking a step back, she felt that the bananas indeed looked very tempting and left the figure where the monkey would find it. Not long later, the biggest monkey did indeed pass by the figure. He saw the image and thought that it was a boy selling bananas. Now, in the past, he had often pushed over banana sellers, turning over their baskets and running away with all the bananas without a second thought. However, this morning he was feeling good-natured, so instead he thought he would start by asking politely for the bananas. The monkey called, "Oh boy peddler, please give me a banana. Just a little ripe, little sweet banana will do." But the wax figure never responded. The monkey called out again in his loudest voice, oh boy peddler, if you don't give me a banana, I'll give you a great push and it will ruin all of your bananas." But of course the wax figure remained silent. Becoming more and more frustrated, the monkey ran towards the wax figure and struck it as hard as he could. However, his hand became stuck within the wax, and the monkey could not get it out. The monkey called out, oh boy peddler, let my hand go and give me a banana, or I'll give you a hard blow with my other hand." Naturally, the figure did not respond. And so, with his other hand, the monkey struck with all his might, but then his other hand got stuck. So now, the monkey with both his fists stuck in the wax figure shouted once more, oh boy peddler, release both my hands and give me all your bananas, or I will kick you." Of course, the figure cannot respond. So the monkey kicks as hard as he can and gets one foot stuck. After yet another threat from the monkey, he kicks again with his other foot. And now the great big monkey has both of his hands and feet stuck in the wax figure. The angry monkey continued to shout, trying to break free of the wax. Eventually, other monkeys heard this uproar and came running to find out what was going on. But not just a few monkeys came. All manner of big and small and tiny monkeys came to find out what was happening. More and more came until they had a small monkey army there, ready to help. They talked, and eventually the tiniest little monkey thought of a plan to get the biggest monkey out of his predicament. The plan was that all the little monkeys would climb up the tallest tree. They would then all stand on top of each other, creating a great pyramid of monkeys. Then the monkey with the very loudest voice would stand on top of the pyramid and shout as loud as he possibly could to the sun and ask the sun to come and help the biggest monkey out of this sticky situation. They all agreed that this was the best way to solve the problem. So the monkeys happily climbed the tallest tree, stood on top of each other to create the giant pyramid, and then the loudest monkey shouted at the top of his lungs. And whether the sun really did hear them or if they just had some crazy luck, the sun came out at once. The sun poured its hottest rays down upon the wax, and after a little while, the wax slowly began to melt. Eventually, the biggest monkey was able to pull one hand out of the wax, and then another. Soon, both of his feet came out as well, and the monkey was free. The monkeys cheered and celebrated, but the old woman was very discouraged and had second thoughts about raising bananas. Instead of contending with the monkey army, she decided she would pack up and move somewhere else. Eventually, she made a new home far, far away, and instead of growing bananas, she grew cabbages instead. This meant that the monkeys were left in possession of a giant garden full of bananas. And ever since that day, monkeys have always believed that they own all bananas. So that's our bananas of a story today, and we are not monkeying around. Don't worry, that's all the monkey puns I got. So yeah, that's just a fun little monkey tale that we get to cover. Reading this, I think a lot of Donkey Kong. Specifically, I remember playing Donkey Kong Bananza last year, and this is very much just the gorilla monkey just drives to get the bananas. It felt very reminiscent of that, and just the classic idea that monkeys just love bananas so much. But yeah, it was just kind of a fun little tale. I also love how we just have this little old lady who just at the end of the story kind of knows when to cut her losses and just like, I'm going to leave, I'm going to do my own thing and stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this week's fun little story. We'll be back next time with Fox, and we'll have a full story to cover between the two of us, and we're looking forward to covering more stories, big and small, and just covering so many more ideas. We got a lot of stuff we're excited to cover in the next couple months, so look forward to that. In the meantime, if you want to hear more from us and find out what our next tale is going to be, then you can join us on social media sites like Bluesky. We're under the podcast name of @FromEnchanted. Or if you're old school like me, you can always email us at talesfromtheenchantedforest@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your comments and suggestions for our next episode. And remember, there's always a place for you in the Enchanted Forest.